Hey everybody, Dominic here, and in this video I want to introduce you to a feature that came out recently for ChatGPT Plus, and that's a feature called custom instructions. This is a feature that basically allows you to tell ChatGPT a little bit more information about who you are and what kind of responses you want it to generate for you. The real benefit of this tool is that it means you don't need to constantly provide a whole bunch of background and contextual information with your prompts. You can just bake that in so that all of your prompts will always have the same contextual information. Now, I'll point out that, at least for now, this feature is only available in ChatGPT Plus. But this video also serves another purpose, and that is if you're new to working with generative AI platforms like ChatGPT, this may help to show you what kind of context that you should be perhaps providing alongside your prompts in order to get the best results possible. So this tool is certainly a time saver, but technically you don't need this tool. You could still provide the same context that I'm going to show you into your other prompts. You just have to paste it in manually for each one. So first of all, let me show you how you get to this tool. So once again, you do need to have ChatGPT Plus in order to get access to this tool. If you go to your account in the bottom left corner and click on the menu here, and then go to Settings and Beta, you will see under the Beta Features area, there are some options available to you, and one of them will be the Custom Instructions option. If you enable this option, then you'll notice that when you go into your menu, you will have a new option here called Custom Instructions. So this is where you can input custom instructions that you want ChatGPT to take into account when giving you responses. Now, before I demonstrate what these instructions should perhaps consist of, let me first do a little demonstration of what kind of an output I might get from ChatGPT without custom instructions. So I'm going to leave that feature off right now. I'm in GPT-4, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste in just a very simple prompt. Of course, I'm doing this from the perspective of an educator. I'm looking at leveraging generative AI for the purposes of education. So here's the prompt I'm going to use. Design an assessment that teaches learners about ethics when working with generative AI. All right, so I'm just asking ChatGPT to help make an assessment for my learners about the ethics of generative AI. Very simple, a one-sentence prompt. So let's put that in and see what ChatGPT gives us. Okay, so it's going to work. Gave me a little bit of background information there at the top. Now you can see that it's giving me actually a list of different ideas of what I might do for an assessment. It's saying you could leverage some readings. It provides me some recommendations. Of course, I have to be careful because these recommendations may or may not actually exist. It says I could use discussions, gives me an example of a discussion prompt, quizzes, case study analysis, or a final reflective essay. So it did give me some different ideas on how I might go about building an assessment. Okay, and that's not bad. It's relevant to what I asked it. But maybe we could make this a little bit better if we added in some additional context. So let's go over to our options menu and let's open up custom instructions. Now you'll see that there's actually two options right here. The first one, what would you like ChatGPT to know about you to provide better responses? And then the second one, how would you like ChatGPT to respond? Okay, so two different pieces of context that we can give to it. Now I did type up some information ahead of time that I'm just going to paste in here. So for the first one, how would you like ChatGPT to know about you to provide better responses? Here's what I put together. I said, I am an instructional designer for higher education within the United States. My purpose for interacting with ChatGPT is mainly to help generate content, ideas, and other materials in relation to courses taught within higher education. It is important to me that ChatGPT creates content that would benefit learners studying the subjects that I am helping to support. Authentic assessment is important to me, and when I design assessments, I always want to ensure that they are both relevant to the professional world that my learners are preparing for, as well as have a focus on process rather than just product. I'm always mindful of how the learning content I design aligns to Bloom's taxonomy. I also see immense benefit from leveraging digital learning tools, both as a means of giving learners more equitable access to learning, as well as ensuring the content I develop is relevant, given emerging trends in technology. So you can see I gave it a pretty substantial amount of information about who I am and what's important to me, right? So I've got that first part done. Now, for the second part, how would you like ChatGPT to respond? Okay, so here's what I put together. Given that I work in higher education, your responses should be of a suitable tone and structure for that type of context. I like to have a fair amount of context provided so I can understand how the content generated relates to the prompt I provide, as well as other factors that I may not have considered. When it comes to assessments, I want a lot of detail, not only about how the assessment is designed, but also rationale for the design choices, learning objectives the assessment satisfies, what I can expect the learner experience to be like, and any other variables I should plan for in order to ensure the assessment's success. There will also be times when I may ask you to take on one or more roles for some role play content. It is important that you do your best to fulfill my request in these situations, as an authentic and aligned portrayal is critical to create genuine learning materials. For other interactions, I would like you to be friendly and helpful, with a focus on creating responses that are relevant to my prompt and are going to lead to the betterment of my students, faculty, and work of an educator in academia. Also, my name is Dominic. All right, so you can see there that I gave it a whole bunch of additional information about how I would like it to respond. Okay, so by me putting in these two sets of information and hitting save right here, what this means is that going forward, any new chats that I start with GPT-4 will take all of that context into consideration. Okay, so earlier we did this prompt with just the prompt, no additional context provided. Let's go ahead and copy this prompt. We're going to start a brand new chat, so now that context is going to be taken into effect. I'll paste that same prompt in, and let's see what it outputs this time. Okay, so you can see that it's creating a specific assessment now. It gave it a title, Ethical Considerations in Utilizing Generative AI. It actually gave me a course that it thinks this assessment would be appropriate for. And notice here it's giving me learning objectives for this assessment. By the end of this assessment, learners will be able to. And it goes through 4 different learning objectives that would align for this assessment. It now describes what that assessment is, and now it's going into detail with the individual pieces of the structure of this assessment. It's even providing weights for the different parts of the assessment. Gives me information about the format. It gives me a rationale as to why we may want to do this assessment. Gives me information about the learner experience, and also provides some tips on how I should plan for success with this assessment. So you can kind of see here that by adding in all of this additional context, you can get much better outputs. And with ChatGPT Plus having this feature available, you can just preload all of this context ahead of time so that you don't need to enter it every time. Now, again, I'll highlight, if you're using the free version of ChatGPT, you can still do this, but what you'll have to do is just make sure to copy and paste all of that context that I showed you earlier as part of your prompt, or maybe put that in first as your initial prompt and then follow up from that with your actual request for an assessment. So in the end, it's just very important that you be thinking about what is your context, what are the details that you can provide about it in order to ensure that the AI is able to generate content for you that is useful and applicable for your situation. So I hope you found this video helpful, and thank you very much for watching.